So the title of the user story, it gives you the idea in one line what the user story is all about. Like in this context, we were talking about the ATM machine. So allowing the user to log into the ATM machine using a registered mobile number. So when you look at this, or when you read this title, you will get the idea that okay, there is a change in the ATM machine login, wherein earlier you were using credit cards or debit cards to log into the ATM machine, but then with this change, or with the implementation of this particular story, the user will be able to log in to the ATM machine using a mobile phone number which is already registered with the bank. Okay, so this is the title. Then description should follow this format, that is, as a user, I want the system to give me the provision to do some action so that I get some benefit. So in this context, it goes like this: as a user, I want the system to give me the provision to log into the ATM machine using my registered mobile number so that I can perform actions, or I can perform transactions in the ATM machine. Okay, so this is the description. And then user becomes a client or customer. Yeah, I mean that whatever that we have written over there as a user, that is the role of that particular person. So in this context, if you specifically ask, in this ATM machine scenario, the user is a customer of the bank. Okay, as a customer of the bank, I want the system to give me the provision to log into the ATM machine using my registered mobile number so that I can perform transactions in the ATM machine. Okay, and same way, if you are taking a hospital management system scenario, in that case, let's say a nurse is using the system. Nurse is using the system to capture the details of the patient who has visited the medical facility. So in this context, you will write the scenario or the description like, as a registered nurse, or as a nurse, I want the system to give me the provision to capture the details of the patient visiting the medical facility so that I can save the details and assign the patient to a physician who is available. Okay, so this way the user is just it's like the entity that is going to perform this action, or that wants to perform this action. So this can change based on the role who is going to perform that activity or action. Okay, so if it's a I mean, like we discussed right now, if it is a hospital management system, it will become a nurse. If it is a pharmacy, it will become the pharmacist. If it is a railway ticket purchasing system, then it will become the passenger. Okay, so that way the user will change based on the scenario and the application that is being developed, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is the title and the description. Now coming to the acceptance criteria. The acceptance criteria of the user story, they capture in detail what or how the system looks like, and also how the system works with each and every action of the user, and how the system responds back to each and every action of the user, and what are the error messages, or how the system is going to respond to any action which is performed by the user, which is going against the system. Like for example, if it's a text box which can capture only 50 characters, okay, and if the user is trying to enter more than 50 characters, then what will be the response of the system? Will the field will the system stop the user from entering the characters right after 50? Like, in some fields you might have noticed in some systems that when you are entering the values in a particular field, after a certain limit is crossed, you won't be able to enter any more characters in that field. It will stop you right there. There is no validation, there is no error message being shown by the system, neither there is any refresh or anything like that. But once you reach a particular limit, you won't be able to enter any more characters in that field unless you remove the existing characters and then replace them with new characters, but you won't be able to go any further. So this is one kind of response by the system. In other conditions, there could be a response wherein the system is allowing you to enter more characters and then stopping you when you are trying to save that record, that in this particular field you have entered more characters than is allowed by the system, this kind of thing. Okay, so this way it is up to the developer and up to the client how they want to implement that functionality, and we will deal with it in that manner. So in the acceptance criteria, you are going to capture each and everything, how the screen looks like. I mean, you are describing the new functionality as is, point by point, in the acceptance criteria, mentioning each and every detail, like how the screen looks like, where the new change has been implemented, and how the user is supposed to use that new change, and when the user uses this new change, how the system is going to respond back, and if at all the user is deviating from the actual way in which you are supposed to use the functionality, how the system will respond in that case. So all these things will be detailed in detail mentioned in the acceptance criteria, and this acceptance criteria will be used by the QA, that is the quality analyst, to write the test cases. Okay, and also the same acceptance criteria that you have written over here, later on when the BA will test the application, he will also use the same acceptance criteria to make sure that everything is in order. Whatever that has been developed is matching these details that is mentioned in the acceptance criteria. And also, as the name itself suggests here, acceptance criteria in the sense, these are the parameters, whatever that you have captured under the acceptance criteria are the parameters based on which the client will either accept or reject this particular user story. Okay, so that is what on the basis of the acceptance criteria, the name itself suggests acceptance criteria. Yes, mostly. Sometimes it might so happen that some of the, that is the mistake of the VA who is writing the story, but it should never happen. It should. Yes, I mean, as the name itself suggests, acceptance criteria. So for the client to accept the user story, these are the criteria which should be met. Okay, so system should have this screen, and in this screen system should have these fields, and in these fields, if one of the field is this, if the user is entering this value in this field, system should save it. If the user is entering this value in this field, system should reject it from accepting or from saving. So this way you enter everything, and client also, when he is testing, he is going to go through each and every one of these criteria, and he will make sure that everything is working in accordance with what is mentioned here. And if anything is failing, he will raise a bug, and unless that bug is fixed, he will not accept this story. He will say the story is open still. Okay, so this is the acceptance criteria, and along with this, you might want to also attach a few flow diagrams and wireframes and the likes of it, like for the for the audience who are going to go through the user story, for their assistance in understanding the system that is being developed, you might put some wireframes like this, and flow diagrams which will describe in detail how the user or how the data will flow through the system from the start of this functionality to the end of this functionality. So all these things you will put, and in the story you will attach to the story. So with this you are done with one story, and once you are done with this story, what you are going to do is that you are going to take it to a client, get it reviewed by the client, and in the sense you will explain it to the client that okay, this is my thought process behind writing this story, and these are all the details that I have captured in the acceptance criteria, and this is how, or this is what is going to be implemented in the story as part of the development process, and this is, and you will show the wireframe also so that to, so as to give them the idea how the end screen is going to look like, and other things. And if at all client is providing any feedback or changes that need to be made to the story, you will make the changes, and once all those things are negotiated, then you save the story and you get a sign off from the client, sign off or approval that okay, so this is what we have agreed upon, you and me, the company, that is the software company and the client, they have reached a point of agreement between them, and this is what is going to be developed as per this user story, and the outcome should look something like this. And so for this I am giving an approval. So what the client will do, he will mention the name of the story in a email, Outlook email, and he will reply back. He will reply back to you saying that providing approval for this particular user story. So that will be your proof that the client has given you the approval. Okay, so with this this is the process of creating the user story, reviewing it with the client and getting the approval.